Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Propagandacast with me, Imperial Dane. We have for you today a 2 versus 2 on rails and metals. Yes, rails and metals again. And we have 2 Panzer Elite commanders with their lovely Panzer Grenadiers facing off against a combined British and American force. This should certainly be interesting for numerous reasons. Partly because we will have a dual Panzer Elite, which is a bit rare and certainly can get a bit dangerous. Plus we have the British and Americans together, a combination which can be a bit dangerous due to some advantages the British player can provide to the American via the command truck. So of course we see a combined force from Monty's and Bradley's boys, 4th Infantry Division and probably 7th Armoured Division versus elements of the 9th SS Panzerdivision Hohenstaufen. With SS Smurfi and Nutz on your chin. Yes, that's a very, very clever name, or not really. But let's get this match started, shall we? We see Panzer Grenadiers going out from Smurfi. His Kettenkrad driver seems to have fallen asleep a bit, but is quickly dashing out. And Nutz has gone for the Scorched Earth Doctrine and booby traps, it seems. Not sure if Smurfi has anything. Nope. But Nutz, Hauptmann Nutz confirms, or Hauptsturmführer Nutz confirms Scorched Earth. Panzer Grenadiers going up there as well. No Gewehr 43s for the Panzer Grenadiers, although a second team is on the way. For the Americans we see a barracks going up, recon section, not entirely sure what it's doing, perhaps a bit of miscommunications between the two as they're dashing outwards again. And the Kettenkrad from Hauptsturmführer Nutz has secured the fuel point with a booby trap before capturing it, meaning even if he's driven away, it's still going to be a bit difficult for the others to take it without having their men blown to bits. Further Panzer Grenadiers flushing out. Gewehr 43 is going out now for numerous Panzer Grenadiers, in fact. We are still advancing slowly, no resistance encountered, although now a recon section is moving ahead, probably trying to secure this point, since this area is nicely suited for a British player. The trench and the building, of course, providing not only cover but also a large amount of protection from direct hits, meaning any truck here can't be in nice cover. Panzer Grenadier being sniped by the recon section. Further Panzer Grenadiers moving in on the scene, seeking cover while the recon section is using the trench for cover, although in this direction they won't actually benefit much from it and will suffer high casualties. And we see the might of the booby trap burning and blowing away the recon section, completely annihilating it. Most being scorched, one apparently being stuck in the trench, only boobs sticking out, and another left behind near the fuel point. Panzer Grenadiers are going to have to pull out unless they want to be cut to pieces by the riflemen. But certainly a nice exchange, very costly for the British commander, in fact. Since infantry sections are 450 manpower, this is going to be a dear loss for him to replace. Panzer Grenadier team holding out, no support though from his teammate, although currently he will be able to hold out for a bit, I think. No buildings going out for either of the Panzer Grenadier commanders. Riflemen continuing to pour in and hold the line and try to seize the fuel point, and now a second infantry section moving in and a third one being sent to replace the one lost. Panzer Grenadiers now knocked out, heavy losses and numerous wounded lying among this, although so far it's been quite a success for Smurfi, who has been able to conduct heavy losses on the Allied troops via this small position, and thanks to the booby trap which managed to annihilate an entire team. Although it would certainly have been beneficial if Nutz could have provided some support with his Panzer Grenadiers as well. And it looks like Smurfi will be losing another team. Bit dangerous, and Veterancy 1 going up for the riflemen, since they do gain extra experience from killing the more veteran Panzer Grenadiers compared to, say, the Volksgrenadiers or regular Grenadiers. Another Panzer Grenadier team on the field, and Kampfgruppe Company, and now a Panzer Support Command going up for Nutz. His Panzer Grenadiers converging on an infantry section out in the open. Going to be quite dangerous for the infantry section, although they'll probably manage to take away this strategic point before being forced to retreat under heavy fire. Yes, in fact, 2 down, 1 in fact begging his comrades not to leave him, but sadly no such luck. Panzer Grenadiers holding out in the building, though severely depleted, but still managing to hold away the allies, and a medic station going up perhaps a bit too forward, because if these are pushed back, it's going to be quite in a vulnerable spot. Perhaps here would have been a bit better. And now we see a masked Panzer Grenadier charge moving in, mortar being spotted and unguarded, but manages to retreat in time. And we see another Kampfgruppe Company going up and a mortar half-track, but the threat of mortar fire has forced Smurfi to retreat. Never mind that his Panzer Grenadiers are deeply wounded, and further Panzer Grenadier teams lost, leaving only 1 behind. That's not good. A bit unfortunate attempts at preserving his men, although the Allies do seem to be doing alright despite the loss of the early infantry section, securing this fuel point. A low one, though, so perhaps not the best fuel point, and no attempts at all to actually move up here, which is certainly to the advantage of the Axis forces, the 9th SS Panzerdivision. And looks like we have a gathering for an assault behind the railway head, or I think it's called, or just I'm not entirely sure for the technical term, but we see a large infantry assault by the Allies, infantry sections and riflemen, going to catch the Panzer Grenadiers outside the building in any solid cover. It's probably going to end in a large round, although the lieutenant was sniped from the building, and the infantry section inside is in peril, great peril. In fact, going to get out before it is lost. Oh dear, another infantry section down. This is very bad for the British commander. He really needs to work on his unit preservation skills. And further losses to the other infantry section. Oh dearie me. Mortar moving up to provide fire support, although it's not looking good. Not looking good. The Panzer Grenadiers are having some success despite heavy losses for Smurfi. And counter battery fire finally arriving from the Allied mortar, causing some losses and compelling a retreat from what remains of the Panzer Grenadiers for Smurfi. Second mortar half-track on the field. Interesting. Kettenkrad scouting, probably trying to harass a bit, but finding trucks securing all the area, and we're probably going to see some sappers from Chesivisky, something like that. And we have, of course, the Allied commander Smokeyzen. I apologize if I've not mentioned names. And fresh lieutenant on the field, though. Riflemen suffering heavy losses, although medics are quick to move in and pull out any wounded survivors. And flamethrowers forcing away the half-track, although the second half-track has moved in as well, providing heavy fire support with the mortars. And it seems like the medic station is almost full, ready to reconstitute a new rifleman team. Lieutenant hiding around, and we see a supply yard going up for the American player. But let's see what Nutz is up to. Not much, it seems. Gathering plenty of Panzer Grenadiers to repair the Kettenkrad. Still no doctrine choice for Smurfi. And what is the situation for Chesivisky? No doctrinal choice either. Stuart tank moving out on the field. That's certainly going to provide a bit of a problem for the Panzer Grenadiers that currently do not have any anti-tank capabilities at the moment. A Brent carrier could certainly have probably also been a bit useful, but the Stuart will do nicely. Getting a commander for the Stuart so you can see much longer and serve better in reconnaissance as well. Quite useful. Infantry section caught out in the open, really needs to use cover or pull back, not try to seize this point while under heavy fire. That's a bad idea. Getting the hint and pulling back in the face of 15 Panzer Grenadiers, quite a lot. Although they are now facing the Stuart light tank, this is going to be nasty for him. But particular if it gets a canister shot off, but he does not have these requisite 75 munitions, and a full rout is now in process. The Stuart light tank forcing them away. The Stuart light being a name given by the British staff of generals to this tank, since the Americans usually just called it by the M designation given it, the British having a habit of naming their tanks, and in some cases the name did stick, like the Stuart, and for the Americans the Sherman. In most other cases it did not. But we see the Stuart holding back, not providing fire support for the American riflemen, a bit odd. Although now we see a Panzer IV infantry support tank blocking the way quite effectively, forcing a rout from the Americans. And we see some progress from the Panzer Grenadiers on the eastern side. And we see that the medic station is still up, surprisingly. Although no further attempts to push forward, since the Panzer IV seems to have deterred any attempts and machine gun equipped for it. Although I'd say that 75 munitions could probably have been used elsewhere. Charging ahead, the captain apparently being used to seize territory is certainly a good thing to use for him, while other troops are occupied with actually fighting. A 17-pounder anti-tank gun, a bit dangerous, but it's going to actually have a chance of dealing with the... Oh dearie me, bad move of locking it down right in front of a 17-pounder emplacement and sappers with PS. This is going to end very badly for the tank and its crew. Even with repairs being provided by the Panzer Grenadiers. One more shot and... oh, perhaps another shot. It can... well, it is apparently quite lucky as it manages numerous shots from the 17-pounder. Although it can't go on forever. Shot knocking out this little house, for what reasons, I don't know what purpose it served, but the Panzer IV managed to get away. The Marder moving in, although now taking heavy fire from Stuart and Piet. It's probably going to get knocked out since it has no infantry to support it, and deter the Stuart light tank, which in fact successfully knocks out the Marder. Second Panzer IV moving in, high explosive short barrel, actually doing some damage to the Stuart, since the Stuart doesn't have such thick armor. But the Stuart may have a good shot at knocking out the mortar half track and getting away. Indeed it does, and the Panzer IV barely manages to get the skirts up before the Piats begin firing on it. British forces pull back, apparently not feeling confident in the face of the Panzer IV F1 Stuart, harassing the Kettenkrad, but still otherwise alive. In fact, Kettenkrad wrecked and pulling back before the Panzer IV can catch up with it. The Stuart being much faster, having actually managed quite a nice total: 3 light vehicles, 2 infantrymen, a light or at some armored vehicle, the Marder most likely. Grenades going off at the Panzer Grenadiers with Sturmgewehrs in the building, perhaps not the best, but then again assault rifles are quite nice. Pineapple grenade didn't actually manage to do much though. And the Panzer IV seems to have fallen within the range of the 17-pounder gun. Not sure if he's using armor-piercing rounds, which will increase the penetration and damage, I believe, making the 17-pounder even more lethal. Further grenades and mortar rounds going off on the Panzer Grenadiers in the building, completely wiping out the team. And it seems like one rifleman team has been reconstituted. So far it looks like the